Hello and welcome to the Alexandra Wenman Show. I have a very special guest today and I'm really excited that she's here to be on my show. This woman is one of my dearest friends and I can't sing her praises enough really. I don't think she really needs an introduction, but I will introduce her because she's fabulous and I'm probably going to waffle on quite a lot about her today. And Scholes, she's a psychic medium, but she's so much more than that. She's an angelic Reiki master teacher. She's a channel to the angels. She very much teaches people how to connect with their own intuition, their own psychic skills. And she's a total mixed bag of all sorts of amazing things. So Anne, I'd love to sort of invite you to tell our viewers a little bit about yourself, sort of how you got started with all of this really, I suppose.
Okay, first I'd like to say thank you for inviting me. It's taken us 2 years to get to this point, isn't it? To meet.
We've known each other for 10 now, so
yes,
it's been a long time.
So it's a delight to be here. And so, well, how did I get started? Well, it's a little bit of a long story, but I kind of feel now I need to call myself the reluctant psychic because I was having a particularly bad day, as we do, and I rang, I thought I was ringing an astrology line at the back of a magazine one day to just say, hey, Aries, everything's going to be fine. And I got a real live medium and rung a different number.
Divine intervention.
Yes. And this lady said, Spirit don't want to speak to you through me, you've got to speak to them yourself. To which the hairs on the back of my neck stood up and went, oh, I don't think so. And I said, I don't know what you mean. And she said, do you not have any medium friends? Now, apart from knowing a couple of people that had been at odd time for a reading, not really. But that night I was going to a friend's house who was holding an open circle.
You just happened to be going that night?
That night. This was the Friday afternoon, about 3-4 o'clock. I'm on the phone to this lady telling me that Spirit wants to talk to me direct. I'm going, oh. And when I put the phone down, I was thinking, no, this is all a bit of a con, this is, you know, it's not real. So I ran up the street to my mum's house and said, ring that number and see what she says. Anyway, my mum did get the same lady, but then this lady told my mum all about me, right? So, okay, so Spirit don't want me to talk to them direct, really. So I went off down to this friend's and I'd had my hands were tingling. It's like palms of my hands had been tingling for a couple of weeks. And I thought, oh, what is this? And I've been brought up very Catholic. And I said to them, you know, it's really odd. I get this tingling in my hands as if it's burning. But
got the stigmata, girl.
That's what she said. Got the stigmata. It's like, what? So I said, oh, I don't think so. Anyway, I told this lady, because the room was packed, and she said, oh, I wasn't going to come tonight, didn't want to come. But Spirit said I had to go and I didn't know why, so I just trusted. And now it's to tell you to sit down in a meditation circle because you're opening up and you need to have some kind of control over it. So I said, oh. And she said, the lady over there runs the local spiritualist church. She's the president. And the lady over there was a lady that I did business with, but I didn't know that she was the president of our spiritualist church.
Undercover work, isn't it?
So you see the dominoes, it was going click, 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 manoeuvre, 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 yeah? And then Denise said, come on Wednesday and we'll do the meditation and everything. So I said, right, okay. So I went on the Wednesday and I didn't have a clue. I walked into this church, they shut the curtains, she wasn't there because she wasn't well, so somebody else was running it. And I remember sitting there going, oh, what if things start to come out the wall at me?
So had you, up until that point, like when you were younger or anything, had you had anything happen?
I had, but not in the traditional sense. I understand once I went into it, but going through it, no, I didn't understand the stuff because it wasn't straightforward stuff. There wasn't, not many people had died, you know. My
so you didn't have like major visitations or anything?
No visitations, none whatsoever. It was just sensitivity. I picked up a lot of sensitivity, negativity, which resulted and manifested in bad dreams. I was interested in a bit of astrology, and I used to say, you're a Leo. And they'd go, how do you know that? And I'd go, well, you look like a Leo. And didn't really understand it properly. Things I had said had come true, and people said, well, how would you know that? I said, well, how would you not know that? So it didn't really resonate with me in the sense of psychic, because I didn't know anything about psychic whatsoever. So when all of this opened up, I had to try and understand what was happening to me, what about my belief system that was virtually defunct, yeah, and to then understand what it was all about, and then deal with it all in some way. So it was a really bizarre type of situation, and I felt like I was doing some kind of degree in spirits. I was chasing my tail, you know. What does clairvoyant mean again? What does clairvoyant mean again? What's, oh, next week.
It's like a whole new vocabulary.
It was like a whole new world, yeah. And so I was like, you know, when you get into it, then the question is, well, what am I going to do with this? Because then I was seeing people in spirit, and then I was describing them, and they're saying, yeah, that's my uncle, that's this person, or whatever. And I'm going, no. So you reach the point where you have to trust. Yes. And then they said, well, you need to be a fledgling, go out and do platform work. No, I'm not doing that. I'd come from a very bubbly, outgoing sales environment, corporate environment, been a national sales manager, loved the hype and the fun. And when I'd been at churches, some of the services were very morose. I found it, the energy was very hard to cope with. And thought, well, I'm not going to stand on stage there going, you know, I want to go, hello everybody, I'm here.
With that, it's a bit like stand up, but with which is so hilarious. But you bring humour to it, you bring warmth to it, you really bring your quality to it. It's you have your own. I mean, you're very the Anne Scholes brand, really. You do it very differently to anyone else I've ever seen before. It's
difficult to look at yourself, isn't it? And I don't know what it is, if you know what I mean. I think the day that there was another medium talking to me, and she said, you've got all these platform churches to do, work to do. And I said, I don't know if I'm the right person. And you could see her eyes change, and a guide stepped in and said, we love your sense of humour. Yeah. We need you to make people laugh. It's okay to laugh. And once I got that confirmation, then it was okay.
Yeah.
You know?
And they're really cheeky with you too, Spirit,
they're very
aren't they?
cheeky.
Yeah.
I mean, they say things and they go, please don't shoot me. But this is what they're saying. And they go, but that's what they would have said. So I can't argue with that, you know. So it's been an amazing journey. I think I should have come into it 10 years before, but I think if I hadn't had that 10 years of corporate training on coaching and presentation and confidence, then I may not have got to where I am today, because that definitely was putting me in good stead for what I'm doing now.
There's never any mistake, is there, Anne? You look back on your life, and I know this from a lot of my clients and a lot of our kind of contemporaries and colleagues, that you think that you're on the wrong track, or you're climbing the wrong career ladder, so to speak, and then, you know, suddenly you'll go through an awakening or a change of circumstances, but everything that you've learnt up to that point is still relevant, isn't it?
Yeah. And I suppose, you know, when I look back, then as I started to learn about it, then I could see things that happened in my past. So now I can go back to when I was 4. You see? Delightful little story, I know you like it, but when I was I'd be about 3.5, and my younger brother was born. I think, you know, siblings get a little bit attached to mum and dad, and so in the dead of night I would wake up and I would tiptoe out the bedroom and then across the landing.
And smother him. No, I'm kidding.
And jump in beside mum and dad. And I used to lie on the edge of the bed, and she always kept the curtains open and the street light was shining in, and she had these little wedgwood pots. And I used to lie there and I used to stare. And if I stared long enough, these little fairies jumped out, all different colours, and they would dance on the windows at the ledge. But the minute I moved, they all went back in. And that's mediumship, because you just stare into a space and it opens up. And for weeks, you know, they couldn't get me out of their bed because I was going in, not for them, I wanted to see the fairies.
Isn't that gorgeous?
And
They were living in the little houses.
Yeah. And I never told anybody that story until I got more confident with this, just about 6 or 7 years ago. It wasn't, because to me it was, maybe I was in a dream, maybe I was.
I've got photos of fairies.
Oh.
I mean, I think that Magical Earth is really on the rise now. They're showing themselves more and more, and this is the thing, like, it's like what you say, isn't it? You've got to kind of go into a different way of looking.
Yeah.
It's sort of like, almost like you soften your gaze, and then I can see them, like I see them as faces. I've even seen one in Glastonbury in Chalice-Well Gardens. Had its back to me, 2 little wings and a little bare bottom, doing this through the shape of the leaves, and the way that the light fell, it was showing itself. But they're becoming so much more prominent now.
Well, you've got the unicorns, haven't you?
Yeah.
Because the unicorns are the children that love the unicorns, that beautiful enchanting energy. So the consciousness is growing in different ways and incorporating more things, and more open to talk about these things.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have said, you know, if I said I saw fairies in the middle of the night, they'd have put me away.
Probably at that time.
At that time they would have been, yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess it's been, I don't know, I think at the beginning I had to turn it inside out. I'm not standing on a stage delivering a message unless I know it's right. And so I had that battle with spirits, like, you show me, I'll do it, but you need to prove to me. So I went through that phase.
You need all the evidence, don't you?
Yeah, and it was just unrefutable evidence.
This is the thing about you, though. You blow me away time and time again, and I need to tell you, this woman is just so good at what she does. You know, I remember the first time I met Anne, we were on a retreat in Ibiza, and I was editing Prediction Magazine, and our dear friend Lucia, who's been on my show, has oh God, we both had each other on a pedestal. I'm going, oh God, we're going to meet Queen Anne off the TV, and she's going, I'm going to meet the editor of Prediction. I mean, it was ridiculous. We met each other and then realised we were both complete idiots, and it was fine. But I started really opening up to my mediumship on that week, and that was an intention that I'd set, but it was initially just an angel retreat, wasn't it?
Yeah,
and we ended up, the whole group ended up doing mediumship.
I think I can't remember what we were doing that day specifically. I think we'd done a meditation, and then as you come out of it, I could see all these faces on the wall, and I thought, who's seeing all those? And I looked around, and they all looked so, because you were coming back around from meditation, who's not closed down.
It's like the whole wall was alive. It was, I'll
these
never forget
faces,
it.
and I said, who's seeing these faces? And she looked at me, I said, oh, on your feet.
She got me straight up on my feet, and she was like, right, now you're doing a reading. Straight away, I still remember it, CERT.
That's right, that's right, that's right. And of course, the beautiful thing about mediumship is that the message that you delivered was to a lady who'd lost her husband, and it was her husband that came through. So quite impromptu, nobody expected it. It was your first time, and it was such a magical moment.
It's beautiful.
And that's my passion. That's what people don't understand about mediumship. It's the fact that it is so beautiful.
It's so humbling. People often feel what they don't know, I think. And a lot of people, I remember being like 14 and I could feel all my relatives in the room with me. I couldn't see them, but I said no. I was like, I don't want to see dead people. I don't ever want to see dead people. I just want to be psychic. I was like, I just want to be psychic so I can pass my exams. I was 14. But I sent them away, and then that opened it all up for me, and it was so different to what I expected. It was not scary at all. No. It was beautiful. It was humbling. I felt like my heart had opened 100 degrees. It was just
the fear stands in the way, but when you just relax and trust with it, the most beautiful things come out. And even to this point, after all these years now, it still blows me away. Last week I was doing a reading. There was a gentleman, he's an actor, and he came, and as I was talking to him, because he was out with a few cars as well, I said, oh, your dad's in spirit? And he said, yes. And I said, forgive me, but he doesn't speak the same language as you. And he said, no, he doesn't. I said, well, he's talking to me, and I have a broad Oldham accent, and so forgive the way I pronounce it, but can you follow this? And I started to repeat what his father was saying.
You started speaking another language.
Chinese.
Chinese.
Not just in any old language, Chinese, where I hadn't got a clue. And he just smiled at me. And I said, can I be cheeky? Because we don't know what things mean. I said, what is he saying? And he's telling me he loves me. I love you, it means. I was like, what? And that blown away feeling.
That's like that flame of Pentecost. You start speaking in tongues and you can speak all the other languages all of a sudden.
Well, then I had Polish in the next lady.
Lessons
so
from
I was
spirit.
Like, okay, here we go. But I've noticed always, yes, I've picked up languages before, but never the Chinese, or that was the one that blew me away.
You are an extraordinary conduit. The evidence that you get. I mean, I've done bits of mediumship since you started teaching me, and obviously I used to do readings. I don't so much do readings anymore. It comes in when it needs to. But I don't get the level of evidence that you get. Like, you actually have I've seen Anne come out with whole conversations, whole sentences that the person would have said, the final bit they would have said to the person before they died. Objects in the home or gifts they'd left for the person. You've had whole names from the person, haven't you? And initials come through. I mean,
where the will is.
It's like, you know where the will is. You know all about all the legal contracts and things that need to be found. I mean, you've also had, I believe, in one of your classes, somebody communicated with the murder victim.
Oh, yes.
Was it Millie Dowler, I think it was?
That came to me in meditation.
Yeah.
I'd only been doing it 6 months, and I felt my vibe was off that day. And when I went to meditation, this whole thing unfolded about where she was, but because I was so inexperienced, it absolutely freaked me. And I just told the lady who was holding the circle what I saw. I ended up in the police station 2 days later. I'd drawn it. I couldn't describe it. I drew it, and I drew everything. And so I was in the police station in Manchester. They were on to the police station in Surrey, and I was giving all this information. They were asking this guy questions to ask me, just to try and it's very difficult because you can smell and you can taste and you can, as you know, we use all the senses. But if you don't know where you are, and that was the problem, because I didn't know how to steer it. It just came in and it showed itself.
Yeah.
So I know now how to guide it, but then it was like, what is this?
But they found her, didn't they?
They did. Well, the description of the man that did it, I froze when I saw him on TV.
Goodness.
When they arrested him, I absolutely froze. So there's so much that is out there, and we restrict ourselves, I believe, if we are just open to the possibility of, don't have to follow it, you don't have to be a medium, but I think if we open our minds, there is so much more that we will see. We're quite closed off for ourselves as well, but the mediumship is such a passion. I adore it, and I never stop. The day I think, I won't do it, it's like every
the world would be missing out.
Oh,
many worlds would be missing out.
Well, it's taken me all around the world. When I came into this, I said, you better look after me up there. And I'm not going to talk drivel. And they gave me the specifics. And then, of course, I went on the cruises, and I've taught in Ibiza and the retreats, and then Canada, Germany, all the Mediterranean. I mean, wow, I've had... And totally didn't know. And the 15 years on TV in between.
Yeah, so tell us about the telly. How did you start with the telly?
But that was another bizarre thing, because from this meditation circle, this lady had started up her own phone lines and asked me to work on them. And I'd just sort of delving more into the tarot as well. And I said, I don't know, you don't feel that confident at first. And she said, no, you'll be fine. So I started to work on that, and then she got the contract with this company who were looking to put a camera in front of psychics and how they work. So they said it's going live in whenever. And the very first show, I was sitting in my dining room with my computer, the whole box thing, and I think it was when did I start? When the computer, 1997, it was 2003. And I was in my dining room, and my TV was in the front room, so I couldn't see what was going on. But we went live, and there I was in this box on the TV screen, live, in my dining room. Like, how mad is that? That's just mad. It's like, and people were saying, I've always wanted to work on TV. And how did you get that? I said, don't know.
Just spirit put you there, right?
They pick me up and they drop me and they go, get on with it, girl.
Yeah. There's your fledgling thing, isn't it?
Yeah, same with the fledgling. The cruise thing, you know, I'd only been doing it 2 years. 2 years and I was on TV. Then another year after that, I was on the cruises. And these massive audiences. And I was like terrified. But you get up on your feet and you just relax and you just trust. And then it just flows.
I mean, that's a lot of pressure. It's pressure to do it one-on-one with a person, to sit and give a reading, but to give a platform mediumship demo and actually come up with evidence, not just for one person, but for multiple people in front of multiple witnesses, that is
nothing like
massive.
putting yourself on the line.
No, it's a lot of pressure, really.
But I think that's going back to the sales. They gave me the confidence because that company built me up. Because I'd been through quite a lot of traumatic breakdown of marriage, problems with jobs, you know, most people have gone through, you know, and it just gave me the confidence. When I look back, they knew exactly what they were doing with me. If they'd have put me in there, I'd have just crumbled at first, but they gave me this run of being coached and trained and teaching, which I love. And then the last thing to drop in was Spirit. And it was like very cleverly done. I take my hat off to Spirit every time.
It's beautiful, isn't it? It really is.
Really beautiful.
Well, you're 15 years on the telly, and you've just launched your own YouTube channel as well.
I have, yes.
A long time in the coming. We've been waiting for you to do
I
this, young
know.
lady.
Well, I was doing Facebook, wasn't I? I started Facebook Live for 2 years. Love that. And then I decided it was time, like you said, to do a YouTube channel. So there's a lot of work goes in behind the scenes, and this is all giving. This is my way of giving back. And there's a lot of work goes into it, as you know. You really need a team, don't you? And I have some really fabulous support around me as well, I have to say. And we're just early days, and Anne Scholes International Psychic Medium, YouTube.
But it's wonderful because you're actually giving, is it monthly reports?
Monthly, yes.
Monthly readings, monthly reports.
Monthly readings,
so energy updates and things like that. It's wonderful.
There'll be more. And I'm Aries. So you know an Aries, she runs around and give me that, I'll do it. And you squash it all and then go, we don't have enough time. So I have to try, and this year I've made a promise to myself to really spend time planning properly. Because I'm at the studio, you know, in between, and coming down here to see you, the other things that I love to do. But Alex has been a great friend. She's come up, she's taught in my shop, because I have my holistic centre.
Gorgeous. Let's talk about the shop, because it's a gorgeous place. It's angelic bliss.
Yes. It was born out of, I was working in somebody else's place, and Spirit said, what are you doing? Why have you got your own? And I said, because I didn't think of that. And so I found a place, and I'm now in my second place, which is the town centre of Oldham, and created this space full of feathery wallpaper, and people walk in and go, so beautiful.
It's gorgeous, isn't it? It's like a sanctuary in the middle of it. It's just beautiful.
And so I hold all my courses that I teach angelic Reiki, which we've got one coming up in February 2020, and all my other courses. And it's really bizarre because you're in a shop and people walk in and you say, how are you? And they go, I'm fine, as is a natural reaction, isn't it? And you look and you think, they're not fine. You go, no, how are you really? And they go, oh, I can't tell you about it. Come in and sit down. And even if it's half an hour for them to offload, they've offloaded and then gone and healed on the way. So there's a lot of healing work goes on in that shop.
And you always get a nice cup of tea with them.
Oh,
nice cup
kettle's
of tea.
Always on.
When we did their workshops, she used to put on an amazing spread. It's like...
Oh, we like a good spread.
Good spread. But I think, you know, for you now, the way that things seem to be going. And I think what's needed, because you with the YouTube and everything, there are people outside of where you live that actually need you, I think, and need your guidance. So what I want to see is Anne Scholes teaching global online workshops, and I think you've got more travel coming up for you, young lady.
It's going that way. It's going that way. It's what I would like to do, because I'm not getting any younger. And it gives me, there are things that I want. I mean, when I sit down and I go to Spirit, right, I need to do this, this and this, and I need to get this, this and this, and this, this and this. And then I go, okay, so you need to keep me fit and well.
It needs to happen now as well.
I'm breathing really quickly so I can get it all done.
Yeah.
So there's a list the length of my arm that I want to do yet. But yeah, lots of nice surprises coming this year.
It's all coming, and I think you've done so much of the background work that it should all just fall into place now.
It should do. It's just the people who are the technical people. It's very difficult when you are psychic, and as you know, when you're linking in, to try and switch your head into the other side of your brain.
Oh no, left brain, right brain.
If you're writing, you spend a day writing because then you're in that mode. But if you're doing readings, then I don't do writings because my head is a little bit okay.
You take your hat off and put the other hat on.
Right, that's right. So you have to kind of work between the worlds, don't you?
You do indeed. And speaking of working between the worlds, I think we need to talk about your connection to the angelic realm as well, and you know, all the higher realms. You know, you're not just a medium, are you? You do communicate with many beings on many levels. It's very multi-dimensional. So.
But that's because she showed me what to do.
So when did the angels step in for you?
Because I'd had a difficult time, like I say, from picking up that phone that day, I was in a really difficult place of how do I support myself, my kids, because I'd been headhunted away from the big company and he'd folded. So I was left out of work, you know, no money. And I think all of that trauma kicked in. And then one day, it wasn't too long after I started meditating, I met a beautiful angel lady who'd done the Doreen Virtue course, the angel course back in the day. And she said, we need to find out your guardian angel's name. And I said, do they have names? I must walk about with my eyes closed, honestly. And I said, oh, right, okay. And she said, after 3, say the name, the first thing that comes into your head. And we both said Anna. She stopped and I said Stacia. And there it was, confirmation that was my guardian angel's name. Now she's quite famous now.
She's been on TV. Around a lot, isn't she?
She's around a lot. And she is my go-to. I go to her when I, you know, find things difficult to cope with. And she has done the most amazing things. I will write that book. The stories, the things, the way she helps people, and the different, you know, ways she can do things and go off and help other people. And I'm sure she's been converted to or promoted to an archangel now. But she is just amazing, and if there's anything at all, I go and have a chat.
I think we need an Anastasia Oracle deck. I feel she needs her own.
Well, she's got plenty of stories.
She certainly does, doesn't she?
She's so, and when I said to working on the TV and I wanted to connect people with the guardian angel, I said, but there's all these big names out there. What on earth do you want with me? And they said, we just want you to connect people to the guardian angel. We need you. And I went, okay, because I just believe now.
And you do.
Totally.
And you show people how to get their wings.
Oh, do you remember sitting on the beach and then feeling everybody's wings, and then you could hear yours cracking?
Them, didn't we?
Yeah, you could hear them cracking on the shoulder.
Yeah.
And coming out. It's like, whoa,
really
they're
stunning. Really stunning. That was such a beautiful day. We sat by Esvedra looking out over Esvedra, didn't we?
Yes.
Gorgeous.
With colouring pens.
Yeah.
And then a little girl of the age of 2 walked past and said, look, Mummy, those grown-ups are colouring in.
So adorable.
That's so very angelic.
So gorgeous.
So yes, it's been an amazing journey, and I never feel that Spirit have let me down. I've tried to live up to them in a way, because they're so awesome. You know, the angels, spirit world, the guides, the extraterrestrials, you know, they're just...
And of course they're coming in a big way now, aren't they? They're really making their presence known.
They
And
are.
we've even had, you know, I think it's the New York Times has even admitted that they've had the disclosure now. They kept it quite quiet, but they have had it now, haven't they?
Really. I have the Arcturians channeling at the moment, so it's keep a pen and piece of paper at the side. As you know, all times, we're always on call.
Oh God, it's 4 o'clock in the morning and you get a download and suddenly you're like,
Get out of bed.
I understand string theory. It's like a dump of science into the brain. It's bizarre, isn't it? But that's just going to show like they're really guiding us and helping us to understand that there is no difference between spirituality and science. It just is what our universe and our multiverse is, really.
Science is very closed off, isn't it? It's if I can't prove it, it doesn't exist.
It's just totally rational, yeah.
You know, for things you have to prove it works. However, it's the spirituality. It's not about proving that.
No.
But then you can prove it, because you can ask the question and they will give you a response. If you ask for a sign, they will give you a sign.
Show you it.
How many signs have you had?
Oh
Millions.
my God, it's every day. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, whole buses go past, or I walk past billboards that have whole sentences that answer my question in my head. Like, it's a constant stream of conversation.
It's just becoming aware of your surroundings. And I think more and more people are more open. I mean, as the TV work, I feel over the 15 years with pioneering that, people now come on and say, is this my karma? Now, back then, people didn't even know what karma was. Or they'll talk about their energy or their chakras. Whereas before it was, we'd say to them, have you heard of your chakras? No. So you'd explain and teach them.
They're getting these concepts more.
Yeah, and you hear people saying, what's the vibe? You know, is the past life connection? And you go...
Or the people go to a party, walk into I'm not sure about the energy in here. It's just becoming normal, isn't it?
That's right,
Yeah.
and because there's so many fabulous people who have published stuff, you know, put it out there, totally trusting in spirit, it is now becoming more and more mainstream. And it's just so beautiful that people are open and just willing to listen.
What sort of advice would you give for someone perhaps watching that's just kind of stepping onto their awakening path?
One, I would say, congratulations. Yes. And I would say, don't doubt yourself. Don't wrestle around with it too much. Go to somebody you trust, you know. Alex is here in London. I'm up north, Manchester. A good reputable name that you can trust to ask questions, book a session and just sit down and go, this is what's happening, why is this happening, and listen and just throw it around your mind and just go with it, because there are more and more people now awakening quite quickly too, and especially when we've been through such a difficult time as a country. More and more people are being more aware, becoming more aware, stepping into their power, as we call it, and their own truth. And more people are discovering they can't survive living the way they are. They have to get into the truth. And that way, you just believe, keep believing. And you know what? People will fall away, won't they? How many people have fell away from us? People can't keep up with you raising your vibration. But that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. They've just got another path to walk, but you've got to go with your vibration.
I think there's something in acknowledging that to really be on this path, I mean, not just to learn it, but to live it and to really walk it. You can learn it and get the certificate, but to live it and to walk it, it isn't an easy path. I don't think any of us have had an easy path, but you see, the thing is with this great global awakening is that nobody's really having an easy path, whether they're on it or consciously or not, whether they're awakened to spirit or not. Everyone is struggling in some way. And that's where I think, you know, we're really deepening into our empathy and our heart space. And this is where mediumship and connecting with the angelic realms especially can really bring some comfort. And just help you be a little bit more compassionate with yourself. So, you know, as Anne said, you know, go easy on yourselves, be gentle with yourselves. You don't have to get it all right the first time, you know, it's all a bit of trial and error, isn't it?
And it's to ask the question, just put that thought out there. Thoughts are living things. They are the creation of the energy of what you want. And so just put the thought out there and just sit back and just allow the universe to bring it to you. You know, the funny story that when I got my shop and I wanted this gorgeous frosted, they call them signage on the glass. No idea where to go, who to look for with any of that. And I stood in the middle of the shop and my son-in-law was doing some building work and I said, I'm just going to say to the universe here, so don't mind me, Theo, I'm just going to say, I'm putting it out there because I need somebody to do the signage on the shop and I don't know where to start, I don't know where to look, I don't know how, so I just pass it over to you. Within half an hour, this guy had walked in and said, oh, I'm new shop, what are you doing? You know, did a bit nosy. I said, what do you do? He said, I'm a hairdresser. I said, oh, nice. He said, yeah, but I do graphics and signs.
There's your sign from the angels.
And my son-in-law went, he put his tools down and he stood. Really?
He's like, only you, Anne.
Only you. Only, oh, now the mother-in-law.
I love it.
So my advice to people would be is just don't go in search of something. Sit still and throw it out there and ask it to be brought in.
Draw it to you, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can magnetise it to you.
And trust that if it's for your highest good, it will come in. And if it doesn't come in, don't slap yourself around the face saying, oh, I wasn't deserving of that. That's not it. It's purely that you weren't meant to have it at this time.
I think there's a lot as well, like as we record this, we've just come into the year of 2020. And a lot of what I'm seeing a lot of evidence actually that people, I guess like us, who've been on, you know, not necessarily on a spiritual path, but remaining true to ourselves, I guess, and following our hearts and staying in our integrity as much as we can. I mean, it's always a bit of a minefield with emotions and things, but when you're doing the best that you can and kind of slogging it away behind the scenes and you're waiting and you're kind of going, come on, when's my break gonna come? Right? It's always to remember, well, if the door doesn't open, it's not your door, and perhaps it's not the right timing.
Yeah.
But what I'm seeing about 2020 already is that a lot of people, what my guides keep saying is that there's something akin to a changing of the guard going on. So people who haven't perhaps been in their integrity, well, the masks are slipping. We're seeing that on a global stage now. We're seeing it with the Pope slapping a woman, and we're seeing it with Donald Trump, and we're seeing it with lots of truth is quickly coming to the surface. But we're also seeing now where the people who have been silently kind of working away behind the scenes and trying to get their work done with the integrity in place and knowing that it has a bigger effect on the whole, these are the people that are going to be given a step up. So it's like if your time hasn't come yet and you haven't got your big break, or you don't know what your purpose is or which direction you're going in, just keep asking and trusting, because when the time comes, I mean, there was a time when, I mean, we were flailing around not knowing what we were meant to be doing. You know, you feel like a fish out of water, and you've suddenly got all these new gifts and abilities, but you're like, everyone's going to think I'm a Looney Tune if I start talking about that. But here we are, filming shows, starting YouTube channels, writing books and doing all of that. So there is a process to it, I think. I think you have to be put through your paces before you can kind of really step out.
I never quite understood it, but when we used to sit in circle very early days, they used to say spirit will test you.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
To see if, and I go, well, if you're working for them, why would they test you? But to see how far they can take you, or to see how far you will let yourself open up and put yourself out there.
Well, it's like martial arts, isn't it? It's like being in training. You strengthen that muscle, don't you? Strengthen that muscle.
Well, yes, certainly the third eye, yes. So yes, I think we are tested, and it's sometimes you have to just sort of stand and go, deep intake of breath, and then that's when they go to Anastasia. Anastasia!
Stay in love, love light, love light, forgiveness. When I channeled this Archangel Michael thing on my online thing last night, it was all about the courage of forgiveness And it was this colour he brought through, this crimson red. But it was like, it takes a lot more courage to forgive and to have compassion for the people that have hurt you.
Yes.
Than it does to go to war with them or slag them off or point the finger or blame them.
Yeah.
It takes way more courage to forgive. And I think that's something that we really all need to learn. So I think that's why some of these tests come through, really to see if we'll stay in that love vibration no matter what's going on. It doesn't mean you have to let people walk over you. You can assert yourself, but you can do it lovingly.
A beautiful Irish medium once said to me, Anne, being spiritual doesn't mean you've got mug stamped on your forehead.
Exactly.
It's about how you spiritually deal with it.
Yes.
And dealing with it in the right way. I never forgot what he said.
I think that's the quote for your video. That's the title of this video.
Yeah, it's it really is amazing, and I am so blessed and I'm so humble and thankful, because this, what have I been now, 20 years working with spirit. It's just been the best thing, and I always say thank you, because I've had so many wonderful experiences, met so many wonderful people like yourself.
I was just going to say, if you hadn't and I hadn't opened up to who we are, we wouldn't have connected.
No. And like I say, it may be difficult for us to get together, but when you do, it's just an amazing experience, and the energy just builds. You can feel the energy building, can't you?
My third eye's going like this.
Yeah, I could just feel, ooh, boom. But yeah, just trusting yourself and just know that you may have to go against the grain, but don't go against yourself.
Oh, I love that. That's beautiful.
That's from Anastasia.
Go against the grain, but don't go against yourself.
Yes.
I love that. That's beautiful, honey. Thank you, Anne. Is there anything else you'd like to mention to our viewers, or?
I just think for 2020, it is an amazing year. There are going to be some amazing things that happen to people in the best possible way. It is about reaching out, stepping up. More importantly, a message from the Arcturians for you is to please don't take your grief with you, your past hurt, your past trauma. Please find a way of letting it go, because it's stopping you from enjoying what is out there. You're not meant to be in that stuck position. You were born into this world for choice and love, two things only, not to live it in fear. So ask the question, are you in fear of anything? Don't be.
Yeah. It's like, acknowledge it, release it.
Just let it go. It doesn't matter, because we get caught up in all this stuff and it's dragging your vibration down. I also do a lot of work with raising energy vibrations. I'm a great believer in keeping your energy and aura clean and clear. And if you could see it with the naked eye, you would then say, we see what's going on there. But because you can't see it, you don't see what's going on with people. So don't let it clutter your energy.
Try and see through all of that into the soul of the person too. You often see, I know we will see the pure soul of the person in amongst all the stuff that's going on, rather than the story, so to speak, that's playing.
There's a lot of hurt out there. There's a lot of people hurt other people. But like you said earlier, the courage to rise above it and go, it's not part of me. I'm not buying into it. I'm going to walk my way. And then you're through. Then you're through.
I love it. Oh, honey, it's been so wonderful talking to you. We're going to carry on after we switch off the camera too. We've already had a lovely lunch together, so we're just going to carry on having a giggle. But for those of you watching, I'm just going to invite Anne to share your website, your YouTube channel. I'll flash all the links up as well.
Lovely. Well, I have 2 Facebook pages, which is Anne Scholes, Psychic Medium, and Angelic Bliss, and the name is in the title, ANNEGELIC Bliss. Angelic Bliss. That is the shop, and where people come for readings.
What's the address of the shop so people can?
It's 4 Manchester Chambers, Oldham, OL1 1LF.
So if you're up that way, do pop in. It's a beautiful sanctuary. It's multi-story too, isn't it? You've got two
I have
floors,
a basement, we have a lock-in.
It's all going on.
I know.
Great.
And then I have my YouTube channel, which is Scholes International Psychic Medium. And my website, which is under review, it's going to get sort of altered, it's there, which is simply anscholes.com.
Amazing. And I'll put all the links below the video so you can just go to the info and click, so you get taken straight there if you want to find Anne.
Failing all of that, just Google Anne Scholes and it will pop up.
It'll pop up. Yeah. If you can manage to book a private reading or a healing with her, she is extraordinary. She's the best medium I know, hands down, and it helps that I happen to love her very much too. But I mean, seriously, if you want evidence and you really want a connection, I feel like Anne's like a telephone to heaven, really. Oh. Seriously, you are. And there's so much deep healing in it, because you've managed to pass on messages to people and resolve things after death as well, where maybe someone hasn't forgiven somebody, or things like that, or someone's been worried about how the person died or if they suffered. You've been able to alleviate that, and that's beautiful.
It truly is an amazing thing. It's just, all I say is have an open mind and just allow the session to flow. Don't ask for a particular person, because that blocks it. Don't say, I'll only believe it if they say this. You know, it doesn't work like that. It's just a flow of energy that will just, the more relaxed you are, the greater the impact. Yeah,
the more open you are, the easier it is to kind of read, isn't it?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
The people that go, prove it.
Oh, I know. I have to say, uncross your arms, uncross your legs.
Don't waste the medium's time. I also love, you always say, don't feed the medium.
I'm big enough, thank you.
It's like, don't feed the medium. So
I've had my breakfast.
If you try and give her information, she'll be like, no. Yes or no, yes or no. Yeah. So you can't even influence the reading with her. She won't even take it.
No, because what happens is we're getting the next bit in, and then that person starts to talk about it, and that's just about what I'm to deliver, and that takes away the impact or the evidence.
Yeah.
And it makes it worthless. So it's saying, no, don't tell me. Let me just go through this first, and then when you're happy, I've connected to you, then you can say a little bit, but don't tell me too much.
Yeah. She's extraordinary. Seriously. Oh my God. I'm so happy that you've come on my show. It's wonderful.
It's taken us 2 years.
Oh, I love you, my friend.
And I must say all the wonderful work Alex does. I mean, she's a diamond. She's platinum. She's platinum. And watch out for all her books. You've got one published already?
I've got two poetry books published. I've got one here actually.
Show us. I've not had a chance to see these.
This is the Poems of Precious Wisdom. So this came through.
I was with you when you started to develop your Precious Wisdom.
When I started, Precious Wisdom was the healing system I channeled in 2012, but this is the journey through the underworld and out that I went through, bringing through the healing. I had to get put through my paces. And then I've got a second book out called The Poetry
Well, then I should
of Life.
have some of those in my shop, shouldn't I?
Hey, I didn't even think about that. But also I've just co-authored a beautiful book with Teresa Chung, and it's called 21 Rituals to Connect with Nature, and that's out in May 2020. So I'd love for you to have that in your shop. That would be amazing.
You just give me a call.
Cool. Well, I'll have to sling some of these your way.
Yes.
I need to talk to you. And we didn't talk about your oils and your products yet.
Well, the oils that I had, unfortunately, the lady that made them passed away.
Yeah.
And I haven't been able to get anything on that level. So I've left, so I kept saying to Spirit, so what do I do? They just kept saying, do nothing.
It's coming.
Do nothing.
Yeah.
But I've now introduced some oils and that I find are really, really nice. So this is it for the moment. Yeah, it will never replace the beautiful range.
She was beautiful, wasn't she?
She was an amazing lady.
You did me a Precious Wisdom one too, didn't
Yes, I know.
Bless
but things change, and so Spirit did say, don't do anything, just leave it.
Oh, there'll be a whole range of stuff. It's going to be massive when
it'll come again. It'll come round again. But at the moment, I'm not chasing it. It's like, okay, keep me busy with something else.
So there we go. So that we're finishing this interview on a big open door, and Anne's going to come on the show again when the next instalment happens.
Part two.
Yeah, keep.
There's a lot of things go on in my life.
There is. It is. It's
There's
really amazing.
stories.
It is the Anne Scholes show. It's wonderful. Anyway, I I love you, honey.
I love you
Thank
too.
You so
Thank you,
much,
thank you,
Angel.
thank you.
And thank you, Anastasia, for being here. I can feel you.
Mwah.
And thank you all for watching the Alexandra Wenman Show. Namaste.
Brilliant.
That were great.
Brilliant. That were great.